It's pretty obvious what Jeremy has meant to Mo and Sonsy. The love in Sonsy's eyes when she spoke about Jeremy was real. He's earned it. Most of the attention justifiably extended to Mo has been driven by Jeremy and his longtime radio sidekick, Scott Garceau. But Jeremy has taken Mo's story to a new level. He has brought joy to the boy's life. He made sure that Mo got a more comfortable bed. He spends much of his daily free time with Mo in his room, playing games, or just talking. We wanted to sit down with Jeremy to learn more about why Mo has been such an inspiration and how this loving friendship has blossomed into a heartwarming story that will become part of each of their respective legacies. We will present to you 4 segments of roughly 7 minutes each that not only gives this special relationship even more lift, but also gives you a peek behind the Jeremy Conn curtain. What you will see is a guy with a big, big heart, one that is so big that even the good Grinch would envy. In part 1, we take a trip down memory lane with Jeremy, his entrance into the radio business, along with his version of the Michael Oher story. Okay, so we're here with Jeremy Conn. We're actually in the home of Mo Gaba and his mom Sonsy, and I wanted to touch down with Jeremy because there's so many things that he's brought to the lives of Mo and Sonsy, and we want to talk about that today, and also get a little bit about Jeremy's background, where he's from, and all that. So let's start with how you got into the radio business, and then where you grew up.
Well, so I kind of grew up between Middle River and Harford County, as my parents were divorced, and my dad moved out to Harford County, so I went to Harford Tech. And when I visit my mom, it was almost like living 2 different lives, because it was very strict at my father's house and very kind of open and free and trusting at my mom's house. So
you like to go to mom's house a little bit more.
Yes, we definitely did venture off and have a lot more fun. But when I was at Dad's house, I just played basketball nonstop. So there was nothing wrong with either one. Yes, once I graduated from Harford Tech, I walked on to Towson's basketball team. I always tell people this: I would have never played in my freshman or sophomore year. I had to get bigger and stronger. It was a total culture shock. Yeah, I was really fast. I know I don't look it, and I definitely don't look like a basketball player, but I was unbelievably quick and could handle a basketball. So I had no visions of getting in radio or any idea of it. I actually was a math major, and I really liked being in front of people, so I also majored in theater. So long story short, I ended up getting in a car accident, and I have to drop 2 of my classes because I can't commute now. I don't have a car. My car was totaled. I wasn't hurt, but my car was totaled because it was a piece of garbage. So I think like $250 worth of damage, the car ended up being totaled. The long and short of it is that I dropped 2 classes not realizing you have to have 12 credits to play a collegiate sport. And once they told me I couldn't play basketball after making the team, I quit school. I had my whole first year paid for. I was just heartbroken. And I had just turned 18 years old. I graduated high school when I was 17. So I just started playing pickup in the area, and I'm shooting the breeze with guys. I was delivering pizzas and talking sports with guys in our league, and they're like, "Hey man, you ever listen to sports talk radio?" And this is God's honest truth how it happened. I'm like, "What is that?" And they're like, "Well, there's guys, they're on the radio and they talk about sports." And I'm like, "So you mean to tell me you sit in your car and you listen to 1 or 2 guys talk about sports?" They're like, "Yeah." I said, "That's stupid. Like, who would want to listen to anybody talk about?" It just sounds like the dumbest thing ever. And then as I'm delivering pizzas, I turned it on and I was hooked. And sent an email to the station, which happened to be Nestor's station over at 1570. Didn't meet him for about 3 months after working there. Steve Hennessy hired me, and the rest is kind of history. I just built myself up. I worked for free for a year, and I was able to do it because I was still delivering pizzas and I had cash in hand. The family life came along, 2 kids. I got one going to college now, and one's 17. I've been in radio for 20 years, and it's been kind of crazy. Even when I got let go, yeah, it's hard to even. I'm so immature, man. It's so hard to even fathom that. But the fact is that I fell in love with it, and it's given me these opportunities to meet so many people, and it's something I think I'm good at, but it's something I really enjoy. And who was it that said, if you find a job that you really enjoy doing, it doesn't feel like work. Right. And for the most part, that's true. I think the minutia and the behind the scenes stuff feels like work, but getting on and talking to people, I love it.
So you mentioned your kids. Talk about your family and how many siblings you have, and then let's talk about your kids.
So my parents are divorced. I have 3 brothers, 1 brother on my mom's side. I have 1 full blood brother, if you want to put it that way, so a half brother on my mom's side. half brother, half sister on my dad's side. My brother and I grew up, we're 2 years apart, and we spent all this time together for many years, but it is kind of weird. Like, my family or my friends have typically kind of become my family. The friends that I have now in my inner circle, I'm so close with. We go on trips together. We're at each other's house every week, every weekend. And you probably have some friends like that too, where, I mean, like, I feel like I've gained like 6, 7 new brothers. You know, it's just that type of relationship that we all have. But with my family, my dad now lives in Florida. My mom, she's retired. She still lives in the same house she lived in when I was in middle school and high school.
She's still letting you get away with things?
Yeah, she lets me get away with whatever I want. But yeah, and then, you know, like I said, life started over for me because I had an 18 and a 17-year-old, and as we were going through life, I started coaching, and I felt like I took on a lot more kids than were actually mine because I always check in with them. And it's been a really weird year, especially with the coronavirus, but all these kids that I coached, that I'm not their dad, but, you know, like, there's always that father figure, and like, I don't just coach basketball, I kind of coach life to them and what to expect. So a couple of them graduated from Perry Hall, they graduated from Calvert Hall. I had, you know, kids at a bunch of the other private schools that kind of bounced around, and of course my kids at Sparrows Point. And my oldest is graduating, he's going to Newman College, he's going to play basketball up there. He wants to get into broadcasting, which I would tell him to get into anything but that, personally. But and my younger son will be a senior this year, and we don't know what that holds. Like, we don't know what school's going to be like. On the flip side of that, and I know it's something we'll get to, but like, my wife and I, we took in 2 kids. They live with us for a little while. I've been coaching them since they were in 5th grade, and again, I'm not.
Talk about how that happened.
So it's kind of strange. Like, one of my favorite stories, we haven't even talked about this. So the kids come spend the night at my house. And my kids, I got to make them a bowl of cereal in the morning. They can't do anything for themselves. These 2 kids, twins, Issa and Noah, they go to Parkville, or they just graduated. Issa's in the Army now. Noah's going off on a full ride to East Stroudsburg to play football. So I wake up in the morning, I'm smelling something. Like, what the heck's going on? I run out of my bedroom and open up, and these 2 10-year-olds are on my stove frying up eggs and bacon. Well, not bacon because they don't eat bacon, but they were frying up eggs, and they had something else they were making there. They're coming, hey, coach, how you like your eggs? I'm like, get the hell off my stove. What are you guys doing? They were perfectly fine. Like, my kids, I got to tell them what buttons to push on the microwave, and these kids were so self-sufficient. But, you know, the long and short of it is their mom got a job with Southwest, and she was going off and training, and she was gone for weeks at a time. And I just kind of went to her and said, hey, I mean, you can trust me, you know that. I treat them like they're my own kids, and so why don't you let them move in with me until you get finally situated and they station you back at home? Because I think initially they had her stationed in Houston and I want to say Oakland, somewhere in California she was staying as well. So she was gone for long periods of time. And the kids were, like I said, they're self-sufficient. They're really sharp kids. Both of them were in the ROTC, but they moved in with me for a year. And when they were moving back in with their mom, I think both my wife and I sat down and kind of cried because that's the type of relationship we had with them. We sent Issa off to the Army a couple of weeks ago, and Noah's coming. We're going on vacation to Ocean City on Tuesday. I don't know when this is all airing, but next week, and Noah's coming with us for the whole week. So they've become part of my family.